Coming up this week, the Tesla Model S Plaid is finally here. Maserati is working on a new EV. Cryptocurrency mining from an EV? Yeah, that's a thing, and more. Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 68 of the EV Resource Podcast. I'm Zach Hurst, and each week I bring you the latest EV news, information, and answers to your questions about electric vehicles. It has been yet another exciting week. The world's quickest accelerating vehicle is now an EV. Some major brands are planning some stellar EVs, and I took my own Chevy Spark EV around the track to kick off our Hot Laps at Dominion Raceway series. So lots to cover for you. Let's dive in. Well, the long wait is over, and this week Tesla started delivering to lucky owners the Model S Plaid, and with that, the title of quickest accelerating 0 to 60 and quarter-mile production vehicle is claimed by the EV world. And I've mentioned it before, but in case you've missed a previous podcast, I'll mention it again, and honestly, it might be because I can't wrap my head around these numbers yet. 0 to 60 in 1.99 seconds with a 1-foot rollout, quarter mile in 9.23 seconds, 0 to 100 in about 4 seconds with a top speed of 200 miles an hour with the right wheel and tire package. Its 3 motors produce 1,020 horsepower. Now, I've talked about cars with insane specs like this before on the podcast. For example, the Rimac Nevera, which used to be called the C2, which when it gets produced will take the crown for quickest accelerating production vehicle away from the Tesla. I've talked about the Lotus Evija with its 2,000 horsepower, the Abarth Owl, the Pininfarina Battista, and more. And aside from absolutely insane performance, all of those cars have one other thing in common: a massive price tag. If you want to be the owner of your very own EV hypercar, you're going to need to shell out $1, $2, or maybe even as much as more than $3 million. But honestly, that's part of what makes those cars so special. They're rare. There's only going to be like a couple hundred of them produced. But the Model S, it's been around for 9 years. They make thousands and thousands and thousands of them. I wouldn't call it special, or at least not in the same way. It's always been a premium sedan, but it's no hypercar. So how will Tesla owners now cope with having to spend $1 million on the Plaid Model S? Well, they won't. You see, to own the world's quickest accelerating vehicle right now, you don't need to shell out $1 million or more dollars, at least not anymore. The Plaid Model S starts at just around $130,000. And that might seem like a lot, but look what we're comparing to in terms of what you get. This is all this performance for just a fraction of the price. And so diving into some of the unique details about what makes this Tesla different from all the rest, the Plaid's electric motors, there are 3, once again, 1 in the front, 2 in the rear. They are carbon sleeved. And if you are listening to this, you have no idea what that means, then you'll be just like I am when I was watching the delivery event. So I'm actually just going to let Elon Musk explain exactly what that means and why that's so special in his own words.
So this is the first time that to the best of our knowledge, there's been a production electric motor that has a carbon overwrap rotor. So it also means we can have the electromagnetic field be super efficient and have a tight gap even at super high RPM. And it's single speed from 0 to 200 miles an hour. So it's just, the RPM is so crazy that just the centrifugal force wants to expand the rotor. So the carbon overwrap actually holds the rotor, basically holds the rotor together. It's like madness.
The new Model S also uses a new heat pump and radiator system which allow for continued performance without wearing out or overheating. The range is listed at 390 miles or 350 if you do opt for the larger 21-inch Arachnid wheels and tires, that those are required in order to run 200 miles an hour. And honestly, that's what I would go for, because 350 miles of range is still pretty damn impressive and certainly more than enough to get the job done. So while I'm not a Tesla fanboy, I do have a new dream car now, and I'd build mine out like this. Blue, the 21-inch Arachnid sport wheels, white interior with carbon fiber accents. Look at that. It is just so damn sexy. Moving on, I don't know if you guys have been following Electrek's weekly EV finds on Alibaba that are just super weird, but this week they posted about a 9-passenger van that is smaller than a mini EV. They say it's not a minivan, it's a mini van. The 9-passenger claim is made possible by 2 benches lining the sides of the van that fold up when cargo space is needed instead of passenger space. In terms of performance, this van sports a 5,000-watt motor with a blistering top speed of 40 kilometers per hour. Okay, so that's 6 horsepower and 25 miles an hour top speed. Not exactly something that's going to compete with the Model S Plaid, for example. It's powered by a 60-volt, 7.2 kilowatt-hour battery pack with lead-acid batteries, which is quite small. For reference, the Spark EV, my car, came with an 18 kilowatt-hour battery pack, so more than twice the size. But where the Spark EV gets an 82 miles of range, this mini van gets 75 miles of range, basically due to its small size and limit on top speed. So if you're going around town, this actually is pretty good. The low-speed vehicles, there's definitely a market for this. Now, if you want to really increase your range, though, you can opt for the solar panel on the roof, which they say will add 25 miles of range on a sunny day. And that's actually not too shabby. And all of this for a starting price of just $4,000 is quite the value if you live in China. And I say that because if you wanted to actually buy this van off of Alibaba, you'd likely pay much more for it after adding in shipping and custom fees. So perhaps there are vehicles here in North America that would be a better replacement. Now, I haven't seen anything that's capable of carrying around 9 people, but for your average low-speed vehicle that you need to carry around cargo, well, perhaps the Pikmin would be a better option. Next, a new Maserati Gran Turismo has been spotted for the first time, and this new Grand Tour will be the first Maserati to get a full EV variant. CNET by Roadshow has the story on this one. They say Maserati released the first real teasers of its upcoming Gran Turismo on Friday, showing off the new coupe with a light camouflage wrap and some pieces of body cladding. The new Gran Turismo will be Maserati's first car to be offered with a all-electric powertrain, and it will be followed with a drop-top Gran Cabrio. Side note, that's probably the one that I would want if anybody wants to get me one. Not that a Maserati in my driveway is anything I intend on having anytime soon. The previous Gran Turismo was sold from 2007 to 2019, so this second generation model is definitely long overdue, and judging by these photos, it seems like it may have been worth the wait. If you are only listening to the podcast, then I definitely suggest you hop over to the YouTube video if you want to see what this looks like. It is a bit smaller than its predecessor, though it should stick with a 4-seat layout. We can see vertical headlights like those on the MC20 supercar, a large grille with vertical slats that's flanked by intakes in the bumper, flush door handles, and chrome window trim. The hood has some coverings on it that lead to an assumption that it will have some sort of vent for airflow, and the C-pillar and side skirts also have camo cladding, so expect some styling flourishes there. And while there's no photo of the rear, the top-down image does give a glimpse of chrome exhaust tip in the rear bumper, so it seems like this prototype is using a gas engine and not the EV version. However, it wouldn't be unreasonable to expect that the EV version would look fairly similar. Maserati's announcement doesn't give any new information about the Gran Turismo or the powertrains that it'll use, but we do have an idea of what it will sound like because of a company-released teaser video from last year showcasing the EV's sound. And here is what it should sound like. Now, this new Gran Turismo will debut at some point in the future, hopefully by the end of this year, as they say, but if not, then most likely sometime in the first half of 2022. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I've certainly noticed that the cost of new cars is ever increasing. In fact, I think the average price of a new car, at least here in North America, has now eclipsed $40,000, which is quite a lot for the average consumer. So wouldn't it be nice if your car could make money for you when you're not using it? And no, I'm not talking about a robo-taxi service where your car drives off to find work for itself during the long hours without you. No, in this case, what if your car could make money for you while it was parked in your driveway? Well, if all goes to plan, the futuristic Daymak Spiritus three-wheeler will make you money while it's parked by mining cryptocurrency as long as it's plugged in and charging. Now, this new light electric vehicle will be equipped with high-tech mining hardware and blockchain technology that will allow it to mine all kinds of crypto, from Bitcoin to Dogecoin, etc., while it's charging. And for those of you who might be unversed in crypto lingo, mining, when you mine cryptocurrency, it's basically a way of earning value of whatever cryptocurrency that is being rewarded by solving cryptographic equations and algorithms through computer usage. And you can mine through any computer, or in this case, phone. I've got two phones right here that I am mining, actually, cryptocurrency with each, two different kinds. So this computer on the car will be basically capable of solving these computer equations and algorithms while it's just sitting there. So that's pretty cool. Now, the Spiritus will include a GPU that supports a patent-pending system known as Daymak Nebula. So this is going to be their own software that it will comprise a miner that collects the coins and a digital wallet that stores them for use. And naturally, there's also an app that will display all of the crypto information on your smartphone. According to the automaker, the emissions-free daily driver is also fitted with solar panels, which means that mining could be carried out using renewable energy rather than traditional fossil fuels through a grid connection. And of course, recently there has been some criticism regarding the environmental cost of mining crypto, but using solar panels kind of circumvents all of that. As for the car itself, it definitely has a futuristic aesthetic with sleek lines and a sculpted rear end, and though it has only 3 wheels, it's certainly no slouch. They've got basically 2 different versions that they're offering at this point. The range-topping Ultimate model features an 80 kilowatt-hour battery that delivers up to 150 horsepower, and because it's lightweight, Daymak says that this allows the 2-seater to go from 0 to 60 in a breakneck 1.8 seconds. Well, we'll see. That would be pretty spectacular. The top speed, they say, will be 130 miles an hour, and they claim it will cover 300 miles and charge in just 2 hours. That's a bold claim for a car that doesn't exist yet, so we'll see. If this makes it to production, we'll see how things really shake out. And as for the price, the base model, which they call the deluxe model, starts at around $20,000, which is pretty cool, although you don't get the 1.8 seconds 0 to 60 and 300-mile range and all of that. That ultimate version actually will set you back about $149,000, which is admittedly quite a lot, but hey, it might just pay for itself. And the last bit of news I have for you this week is an announcement from McLaren, or rather McLaren Racing, which I have been told is separate. McLaren Racing will open a new motorsport chapter next year in 2022 when it enters the Season 2 of Extreme E, which of course is the innovative all-electric off-road series which aims to use racing to promote sustainability and diversity. McLaren Racing will compete in the 5-race global championship, helping to accelerate their own sustainability and diversity agenda while reaching new fans and new partners and growing the McLaren Racing brand and franchise. Now, their decision to enter Extreme E follows a very detailed evaluation of the series by McLaren against a set of strategic, economic, and operational criteria. They're not just running into this willy-nilly. They actually have a plan of how this is going to help them. And ultimately, this was underpinned by a clear imperative to accelerate their own sustainability mission, which includes carbon reduction, recycling, reuse, and elimination of waste, diversity, equality, and inclusion at the very core of what they're trying to do. McLaren Racing has been a leader in electric motorsport from the outset. Originally, I believe, in season 1 and 2, supplying the battery and powertrain for Formula E. And then, of course, then employing that same technology into the P1, the gas and electric hypercar. So with its move from supplier to team, McLaren Racing is going to continue to build on its know-how and expertise in the all-electric racing space. The team itself will be operated by McLaren Racing using both existing personnel from outside the Formula One program and additional specialist resources. And like all Extreme E teams, McLaren Racing will be limited to just 4 mechanics and 1 engineer at each event for the car and its 2 drivers. All of that transported by Extreme E as a part of their overall franchise package, which, of course, we know is on the boat, the St. Helena. So this looks to be an exciting move for Extreme E for next season, and I can't wait to see how the series grows. The inclusion of McLaren is certainly going to add a lot of value. All right, so that's it for the news. Before I end the show this week, I do want to introduce you to the new Hot Lap at Dominion Raceway series. It kicked off this week with a rainy run of the course in my very own Spark EV. So check out that video right there. Going forwards, I am going to be able to get my hands on different EVs, and I'm going to run them around the road course at Dominion Raceway to compare lap times and generally have a good time and hopefully provide something that is entertaining to all of you. Here's a special request, if any of you want to temporarily donate your EV to the cause, let me know. I am very hungry to get back out there. Of course, at this point, I need all EVs. So definitely Chevy Bolt is on the list, Hyundai Ioniq, Kia e-Niro, all Teslas, of course. Polestar 2, I would love to run around the track, see what that can do. If anybody is going to be receiving a Plaid Model S, let me know. I would love to, I would really, really love to run that around the road course as well. But, keep an eye on that. It's going to be, of course, through YouTube, the video series there. So it's not going to be every week, mind you. I don't have time for that. And I honestly don't think I'm going to be able to find a new EV every week. But I'd like to do one every month. Even that, I don't know if that's going to be possible or not. But that's the intent. So stay tuned. So that is your show for this week. Thank you so much for watching the YouTube video and listening. Please share this with your friends and anybody that you know that's interested in electric vehicles. I always want to give a big shout out to our Patreon executive producers. They are Rajiv Narayan and Greg Fuller. If you would like to support all of my efforts here at the EV Resource podcast and magazine and everything, really, you can check us out there at patreon.com/EVResource. It's definitely appreciated as it helps me keep going into the long hours putting all of this together. I do invite your feedback for the podcast via email to hello@ev-resource.com. I encourage you to leave a comment on the YouTube videos, and don't forget to subscribe so that you'll get all the future shows delivered to you automatically. If you want to listen to any of the previous podcast shows audio only, you can find them on our webpage under the podcast section and on many of the major podcast platforms. Thank you so much for being with me, and I'll catch you all next week.